This is bad for PlayStation. We have the biggest game not named GTA 6 in the hands of a greedy company who is completely out of touch with the gaming industry. The richest company in the world is making erratic decisions every single week, leaving insiders scratching their heads, retail companies removing Xboxes from their websites and shelves, and players who have supported them for decades finally moving on. The unreal expectations put on Xbox from Microsoft might not just ruin the company, but could jeopardize what is left of Bethesda and the Elder Scrolls series by making Elder Scrolls 6 an Xbox exclusive. Recent trends do point to that being wrong today, but if you dig deeper, it's honestly hard not to worry about something like this. So today I want to talk about the Elder Scrolls 6, why it might skip PS5 or PS6, and how Xbox's recent failures is the spark to all of this and might change everything. So what does Xbox have to do with any of this? Well, for those of you who don't know, ZeniMax Studios, the company Bethesda is under, was purchased by Microsoft, so it's an Xbox company. And even the headline here from 2021, some titles in the future will be exclusive to Xbox and PC players. So your favorite franchises like the Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Starfield all have the potential to be Xbox exclusives. This is what we saw with Starfield. It's still not on PlayStation yet. It was an Xbox and PC exclusive, which will pretty much be the same thing going forward, but I'll get into that a little later. So Microsoft bought them for $7.5 billion. And you can even see here in an interview with the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, future Bethesda titles will still be considered for multi-platform release on a case-by-case basis. So that has not only left the door open for Xbox to make decisions like this regarding the company, but they already have. Starfield was a big release for Bethesda. I know it didn't do well, but the hype around that game and the game itself, I mean, that was a big release for them. And I'm not talking reviews, but how much money was put into the marketing and the game itself, it was huge. And that game was only on Xbox and PC. So they completely reserved the right to do this if they want to. And we've also seen Bethesda's internal concerns about games being only on Xbox and some pushback within the company leading to punishment from Xbox, if you really read between the lines. So Pete Hines, who has been with the company for over 24 years, recently has come out and talked about how there's no question that the company, Bethesda he's talking about, is not the same anymore. And we saw in 2023, an internal email came out about how he felt like their games were being treated unfairly compared to Call of Duty. This is an email he sent to Todd Howard and others in the company about how Xbox is giving unfair treatment to Call of Duty compared to their titles. He asked Microsoft executives why Bethesda titles would be Xbox PC only, but they would allow Activision Blizzard games like Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation. So this came out in June 2023, and then in October 2023, Pete Hines has announced his decision to retire. I mean, you guys tell me what you think about that, but certainly a coincidence, certainly. So that should help paint the picture of who's really in charge of this relationship between Xbox and Bethesda. But like I said, why would they do this? Direction Xbox is heading, they are completely going against hardware. They don't really care about the Xbox console as a whole. They're putting all of their energy into Game Pass and bringing their games everywhere. You know, the whole Xbox Playware initiative, I mean, that's real. Because not only do they have Xbox Playware games, but you can play all of the Xbox games on PlayStation now, pretty much. But here's where things change. Xbox's plan is failing. And I saw this was literally just posted earlier this week. Xbox admits console wars defeat. Like, yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad. We knew that for years. But yeah, Xbox is essentially thrown in the towel when it comes to console wars as it moves away from consoles in general. Their new plan is to bring their games to as many devices as possible. They recently said that their competition isn't the Switch or PlayStation, it's TikTok and other social media. I wholeheartedly disagree with this, by the way, but this is their position currently. And we can even see Starfield, the once Xbox exclusive, is now heading to PS5 in 2026 with the new expansion. I imagine they're gonna, they'll give it some label like the Complete Edition, the Enhanced Edition. It'll pretty much just be Starfield with the 2 DLCs and whatever else is included in that. So not only the paid expansion, but what they're doing to the game as a whole. Because it's going to need a big update, and it looks like it's going to get it, which is why it was delayed from this year. And on top of that, Oblivion Remastered, which launched earlier this year, came out on PlayStation. And we also have Tom Warren, a very reliable leaker in the industry, say that the Elder Scrolls 6 will not be limited to Xbox. Their next Xbox is going to be a PC. They've already confirmed it will have Windows, it will have Steam, And it's pretty much just going to be a PC, but with the Xbox branding and probably an Xbox dashboard still, some type of OS. And that might sound exciting to you, but Xbox has had a very, very bumpy few years, and now we know the real reason why. The most worrisome part about all of this is Xbox was forced to do this. They had large-scale layoffs, price hikes with Game Pass going up to $30 a month, their consoles going up to $800 for the most expensive one, the 2TB version, which is, by the way, the same console it was 5 years ago. It hasn't been renewed or refreshed at all. It has the same components as it did 5 years ago, just with $300 added to the top. And we can even see here that this Xbox Alley was most of all a test for Xbox to see how fans would respond to pretty much a Windows-based system that has the Xbox branding on it. And that's what this is. It's not an Xbox. Like, it can't play native Xbox games unless they have the Xbox Play Anywhere. Like, you pretty much are playing PC titles on this handheld. And this was pretty much a test for them. Phil Spencer said that people should look to the Xbox Alley for an idea of where Xbox is headed. And this is their last push. They've lost the console race. They've admitted it. They've waved the white flag. And their last push towards this is Microsoft owns Windows, their own Xbox. They're going to try combining those two together and see if they can turn their Xbox into a PC. But the reason that they are doing all of this is because they are forced to. And that is the worrying part about all of this. So as we learned a few weeks ago, Microsoft has reportedly pushed Xbox Studios to deliver a 30% profit margin, which has led to all of the layoffs, the canceled projects, the canceled games, price rises, the end of exclusives. All this was done because of the expectations to hit 30%. And for those of you who don't know, that is not only high, but probably unattainable for a company like Xbox, who has struggled a lot recently. So right now, you might think it's crazy. Why would Elder Scrolls 6 only be on Xbox and PC? Well, we're seeing all of their titles get moved over to PlayStation. But we've also seen alongside this, declines in sales, stock being pulled from shelves, prices being hiked up because profits are dropping. We already know they lost millions and millions of dollars because of Call of Duty going to Game Pass, which is also another company like Bethesda that they purchased with Activision. So what happens if this plan of theirs fails? Because remember, the Elder Scrolls 6 is years and years away still. I know it's been forever that the first trailer came out in 2020 and they haven't added to the series in a very long time, over a decade. But they are currently working on Starfield and trying to end that on a positive note. That update's not coming out till next year. So you got to imagine if they're still working on that, and even though they are working on the Elder Scrolls 6, we are probably still years away, maybe 2028, 2029 is what we're looking at realistically. Not many people expect 2027 to be legit. So if that's the case, and we're already on the next generation of consoles, Xbox's plans that we're hearing about right now with this PC console hybrid will have already come to fruition. We already know if this was a major success or not. Starfield and their future DLC in 2026, we will know if that was successful or not. Remember, the last DLC, they were very high on. So much so that they kind of had to respond to it because they were so high on it, yet the reviews for it were mostly negative on Steam. This was not received well and actually seen as a downgrade to what was already a struggling Starfield, which forced the mill to say, my optimism is in no way meant to be mud in the eye of any dissatisfied fan. They were pretty much apologizing for their optimism going into it because they held this DLC in high regards and it was somehow even worse than Starfield. So if the first strike was the game, the second strike was the DLC, the third strike might be the second DLC and the PS5 launch. That would be 3 strikes. You're out. So I'm asking you, what if this all fails? Because right now today, it would make sense for this to be on all platforms. But if this is all failing for Xbox, they're going to be running out of options. This new console of theirs is supposed to be around $1,000. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think the average consumer is going to spend that much when they can buy a Switch or a PlayStation. And what is one thing we do know about consoles that Microsoft just seems to not see at all? Exclusivity works for consoles. Straight up, there's no argument against it. So the PlayStation has outsold the Xbox over 2-1. It's almost a 3-1 ratio. And the Switch 2, which launched earlier this year, is already at 10 million hardware sales. It is on pace to pass Xbox sales in its first year. Why? Because they have games that force people to buy a Switch to play the games. PlayStation has the same thing. They still have very successful exclusives like Death Stranding, Ghosts of Yotei, the God of War series, whatever The Last of Us is doing, and Naughty Dog's side projects. They have a new IP coming in the near future. So that tells us exclusives work. And if Xbox's plans of going fully digital and leaving hardware behind and allowing anyone to play any Xbox game on any platform, what if this all fails? You've already lost Halo, Gears of War, Forza, all your exclusives will be on other platforms. You've lost everything that makes Xbox Xbox at this point, let's be real. And in 2 to 3 years, you're still losing more and more money with this plan, and you have the Elder Scrolls 6 under your hood, Bethesda under your hood. Isn't that a get out of jail free card? Or a $7.5 billion get out of jail card? I'm worried, seriously. And they're going to be desperate. And that's why I'm just very worried for PlayStation and the Elder Scrolls 6. And this doesn't even include the Bethesda Studios and what's going on there. I will save that for a different video. If that's your sort of thing, check out the channel. I make videos on single player open world RPGs primarily, and just gaming news and trends. So if that's your thing, check out the channel. Leave a thumbs up and let me know what you think down below. Will the Elder Scrolls 6 be on PlayStation? That's the question.